Hello everyone, this is Manju and you are watching Grammar with Manju ma'am. And in today's video, you are going to study a very special topic, that is clauses. What are clauses? How many types of clauses? So do not think the topic is going to be very difficult. You just stay here in this video from the beginning till the end, and I promise you that I'll make each and every point very clear. So let's start. First, understand what are clauses. Okay, so clauses are group of words with a combination of subject and a finite verb. If I say she eats, so she is the subject and eats is a finite verb. So she eats, it's a clause. Now you must be thinking, this is a sentence also. Yes, it is a sentence also, and slowly, gradually, I'll tell you each and everything what is the difference between a sentence, a phrase and a clause. Okay, so what a clause is? A clause is a group of words which forms a part of a sentence, and contains a subject and a predicate is called a clause. Okay, a group of words which forms a part of a sentence and contains a subject and a predicate is called a clause. Okay, now you see, the lamp was broken by you. This is a sentence which gives you a complete meaning. If you see, the lamp was broken by you means lamp tumne tod diya, ya lamp tumhare dwara toda gaya. Alright, so the lamp was broken by you. What is subject here? Subject is lamp. Lamp is subject. Then what is verb here? Was broken. Was broken is verb. And I said here a predicate. So was broken by you. This is altogether, if we see, this is known as predicate. What it is? Predicate. Okay. So, the lamp was broken by you, it's a clause and it's a sentence also. Now, with the other examples, you will understand how it is different from sentence and what's the minute difference in sentence and clause, that you will understand with some more examples. So, with the previous example, you understood that every sentence is a clause. But every clause is a sentence, it's not necessary. Let's understand with some more examples. You see here, he is my friend. He is my friend. He is subject. Is verb. So, he is my friend is giving a complete sense also, and it has a subject and a finite verb also. So, what it is? It is a clause. It is a clause. But is it a sentence also? Yes, it is a sentence. Why? Because it's giving a complete sense. Now you see the second sentence. He called me yesterday. He called me yesterday. If you see here, this is the subject and called is a finite verb. So he called me yesterday. It's a clause. It's a clause. Or even you can say it's a sentence with one clause. In this sentence, there is only one subject-verb combination, so it has one clause. Okay. Now you see third sentence. He called me because he wanted to discuss the paper. He called me because he wanted to discuss the paper. Now let us check how many clauses in this sentence. This is a sentence. Undoubtedly, it's a sentence because a whole structure is giving a complete sense. Okay, now let us see how many clauses are there. He, one subject, called, one verb. He called me because he wanted, again you see, he, another subject, wanted, another verb. So if you see here, he called me is a clause, and because he wanted to discuss the paper is another clause. So now this sentence has how many clauses? This sentence has two clauses. How many clauses? Two clauses. Remember this. Okay. So a sentence can have more than 2 clauses, 3 clauses even. But a clause cannot have more than one sentence. Remember it. Now you see the last sentence. Even if I was unwell, I went to his house and discussed the paper. Let's see how many clauses in this sentence. Even if I was unwell, I was. I is a subject and was is verb. So this is even if I was unwell. It's a clause. Now I went to his house. Again you see I subject. Went verb. So I went to his house and discussed the paper. This is another clause. It's a combination of subject verb. Now you understood that this sentence also has how many clauses? 2 clauses. Okay. So now you have to understand that how many types of clauses. There are 2 types of clauses. How many types? 2 types. Number 1, independent clause, and number 2, dependent clause. I repeat, independent clause and dependent clause. Okay. So with the same examples, you are going to understand which is independent clause and which is dependent clause. As the name itself suggests, independent, जिसे किसी की कोई जरूरत नहीं है. Yes, self-sufficient. And dependent, who has to depend on something. Okay. So in the case of sentence, one part may be depending on the other, and that will be known as dependent clause. So let us see. If we see this example, he is my friend. Does this sentence require anything to depend upon? No, not at all, because it's giving a complete sense itself. So what it is? It's a which kind of clause? It's an independent clause because it doesn't need anything else. Now second sentence you see. He called me yesterday. He called me yesterday. Is it requiring anything to depend upon? No. So this is also an independent clause. Now third sentence you see. He called me because he wanted to discuss the paper. If I say he called me and I put here a full stop, suppose he called me, then this part if you see, he called me. He called me. Is it requiring anything else? No. If I put here full stop, it doesn't require anything. So this is known as independent clause because it doesn't require anything. So he called me, it's an independent clause. But because he wanted to discuss the paper, if you see this part, because he wanted to discuss the paper, this part is depending upon the first part, isn't it? Because if I say because he wanted to discuss the paper, what? Aage piche kuch nahi. Something required. Because he wanted to discuss the paper, that's the reason he called me. Yes? So this is dependent clause. Which clause is this? Please remember, this part depends upon this. So this is a dependent clause. Now with last example you see. Even if I was unwell. If I say even if I was unwell, just take up this part. Even if I was unwell. Bhai aage kya? Even if I was unwell, is it giving complete sense? No. There is a clause. You see, subject is there, verb is there, but it's not giving a complete sense. So, is it a dependent clause or independent clause? Dependent clause. This will depend on the other part of it. So, this is a dependent clause. Okay, remember. I went to his house and discussed the paper. I went to his house. You see this part only. I went to his house. If I put a full stop here, I went to his house, then it can be independent clause. I went to his house. Yes, मैं उसके घर गया. It's an independent clause. And discuss the paper. Here you see, and discuss the paper. Here there is no subject. You must be thinking, discussed is a verb, but there is no subject. So subject-verb combination is not there. Understood? So this is a sentence. Even if I was unwell, I went to his house and discussed the paper. Okay, so this part, even if I was unwell, is dependent clause. And I went to his house and discussed the paper. This is independent clause because this is giving complete sense. I went to his house and discussed the paper. मैं उसके घर गया और paper discuss किया. Alright, so you understood that clauses are of two types, dependent and independent clauses. I hope this is clear. If you have any doubt, you can write in the comment section and I will certainly reply your questions and queries. Thanks for watching.